Welcome! We're out here to test the, for us, new Axopar 24 hardtop. This actually is the very first Axopar 24 hardtop in the Netherlands, and we're quite fortunate to take this beauty out on Westeinde Lake on a beautiful day in March, such as today. Also because this particular boat has the new Mercury V6 200 horsepower, which I think is an ideal combination, but of course we'll do some testing later in the video, so you'll be able to experience that more or less yourself. As usual, we start at the bow, and right here at the bow, this has been set up as a settee more or less, with this table which is included in the premium package, one of the options available on this Axopar. And you can also lower this table because you can have two smaller supports, which are, by the way, stored below me here in this bench. This can be lowered. There's a filler cushion for this table which folds like this, and it lies on this small edge here, so you have a really nice lounge area, even for taller people like me. If you lie down like this, it's not tall enough for me because I'm 1.93 meters, but for smaller people there's enough space to lie down and enjoy the sunshine. Of course, there's an anchor locker here with non-skid on the bow to get on and off the boat at the bow. And as I always say, Axopar always uses stainless steel of 316 quality, which is the best quality available in the water sports industry. Also the hinges made out of stainless steel, and the upholstery is also made in a way that it can have some, how shall I put it? When you use a cushion such as this, usually the corners tend to be worn easily, not on an Axopar, because you can see you have double stitches on the edges here, and not only here but on all cushions where you have places where they can be worn easily. Also on corners like this is not one piece, but it's specifically made with an extra stitching here. The room below me, as I stated, has been used for storage, right here and right here. Below this side and this side actually is the cabin where there's place to sleep two adult people, two adults. Going back, let me also point out that there are some options on this particular boat. There's LED deck lighting in the deck below me, which gives a really nice touch in conditions where you use the boat at night. Windshield washer, cup holders, so thought through, very practical, enough space but also practical to be used in nice sunny conditions. And going back to this area here, this is a really nice sheltered section of the boat. This can be used, these two bunks here, to sleep overnight. And we also ordered the optional filler piece which goes in between these two bunks right here, so that you have a really nice and big bed which can be used for long weekends or stays during the night. What I experienced also on the Axopar 24 is that this is a nice area when you drive back. You have been out on a nice dinner somewhere, and in the evening it gets kind of chilly. This is a really good place to sit down like this. You close this area here and you're sheltered from the cold and chilly wind, or maybe even some light rains. And even in really rough conditions, of course, this gives you a lot of shelter. And also I have experienced that people who drive boats such as this sometimes choose for the optional toilet, which can be fitted here. We didn't install it on this particular boat because, as stated, it is an option. We can still install it later, but we as a dealer can also install a porta potty, which is a lot cheaper and also gives you the advantage of not having to install the waste tank, which of course also costs some more storage space, because the space below the table there, below the deck, now can be used as storage space, but if you have the optional toilet installed, you need the holding tank, which also reduces the amount of storage space. Here we have the teak table. You'll see that later in the video. That can be used in the cockpit aft. And as I mentioned, this can be closed. There's lights in the roof here, and there's a faucet here so that you can wash your hands or rinse some glasses. Grab rail here for the passenger to hold on to. I'll get back to the steering position later. And we had this optional fridge installed, which is huge. You see this area here, so really close by you have your drinks available. And of course, one of the most important features of this Axopar 24 is this roof, which slides out like this, really easy. And as you'll notice when I sit down here, you'll see that it does give you quite a lot of protection. Of course, it doesn't completely shelter you from the rain. If you have rain pouring down and you don't fit the optional canopy, if you do fit the canopy, it goes up here and aft, so you can sit here and still be out, well, in the rain more or less, but sheltered. But when you're driving, because of the driving speed, even in rainy conditions, you're sheltered from all the rain by sitting below this roof. Let me slide it in like this. And of course, on this particular boat, such as on all the Axopars, not only on the hardtop but also on the open version or on the T-top version, you can turn this seat around, but also that seat. We just wanted to show you how it's possible, so we turned this one. And as I mentioned, we ordered the optional Teak table, so that if you do sit down here with a group of friends, you slide this one aft as much as possible. You have this nice Teak table here, and you can sit here and enjoy, well, the company you're with and a nice drink, or maybe even play a game of cards. But this is a really nice sociable area. What I forgot to mention, but what is really important for the Axopar 24, is that it's been built as an unsinkable boat. It gives you a high level of flotation, which does even allow Axopar to put it in the market as an unsinkable boat, because there's foam in the hull and on certain spots. You notice that also while driving, because it feels as a very sturdy and solid boat, and it also reduces the noise slightly. But that is something to keep in mind. It is an unsinkable boat. Below here there's even more storage, and if you open this, you'll need to do like this, so that you can use the full length of this deck hatch, so that you can access all the storage below here. Nice seats, like we're used to with Axopar, with this nice stitching, and also armrests on the nice places, also here, and also on the passenger and the driver's seat. And of course, these storage areas for fenders, we put in 2 on each side at this moment, and also the mooring lines, and the optional bilge pump, manual bilge pump, filler cap for the fuel, and of course the flagpole, also made out of stainless steel, cleat made out of stainless steel. And one really good feature, I personally think, is this canopy, which also is an option that folds down here, so that it's, well, stored away, and it doesn't block you while entering or leaving the boat. So that it's a really practical way of storing the optional canopy. We also fitted the optional water ski pole. We noticed that on all Axopars nearly people want this. Not only because when you bring kids or other people who want to use a towable behind the boat or do some water skiing, you'll need this. But it also gives you well, a grab on when you step on board, especially on floating docks, which tend to be quite low, and you step on the boat from the side here. This is a nice grab on, and this is used for the towing line. The swimming ladder on this boat is on this side, right here. It can easily be taken out, and it's quite long. I don't know if you can see, but it's 4 steps, so it's deep enough I see a lot of boats where they use only 2 or 3 steps. Not on this Axopar, you have 4 steps. So you can get in or out of the water really easy. As I mentioned, there's another storage area right here. The main switches are here, and also, well, all seat bags are used for the added storage. There's added storage here. I just put some clothing there for these conditions because it's quite cold at the moment while driving. A good armrest, that is something that I always appreciate on every Axopar. They are really very well thought through, I should say. The ergonomics are really perfect. If I sit here, and again I'm not the smallest guy, 1.93 m, but having this foot base inclined, well, means that you just feel safe. You can push your feet and push yourself into the seat in rough conditions, which means that you just feel safe and more or less blocked so that you don't fall out. Having the armrest on the exact perfect position, and also these things as a grab on when you step on or off the boat from the side. A high backrest, wide seats, tall seat bases, a steering wheel which goes up or down like this, like I'm sitting now when I do some driving. This is for me is an ideal position, but what you see when you sit upright like this, you might want to do this, or when you drive standing up like this, even then notice that I don't need to kneel or anything. I look over this roof and still I'm able to drive in an easy and practical way. All the switches here, we as an Axopar dealer installed this Simrad 12-inch plotter. We did this because we wanted a clean look on the dashboard, and with Simrad has a really good connection with Mercury engines, so you can have all the Mercury, all the data from the engine on this plotter. It actually is a plotter, so you can also show a map or maybe even the echo sounder or whatever on this screen, but you don't need additional equipment. You have one screen only for all the data, and of course you can split the screen, and there are loads of possibilities while using this plotter. But I personally like it because it's quite a big screen and you have all the data available in one glance. Of course, with the new Mercury V6 you have digital throttle and shift, and we installed the optional bow thruster, which I think makes this boat even easier than it already is. I tend to do quite a bit of driving, just driving on my own, when I've had a tough day in the office and I want to be out for only half an hour or so. I jump on a boat, and when I'm going back and have to moor up, going backwards with a force 5 from the side, even though I'm really good at driving boats, sorry to say that, but then if you have a bow thruster, that is something which is really practical. And also what I need to pinpoint is the ease of use. Don't have loads of difficult covers. There are only a few easy to use covers. There's one in front, but if you take the cushions off and leave them in your garage in wintertime, you don't even need a cover in the bow area. And there's one really simple going straight down here, which comes standard with every Axopar 24, and the same goes for a cover for the aft seats here. So if you do use a boat such as this in this time of year and you don't use the cushions in the bow area, there's only two covers, one here, one for the aft seats, because this is self-bailing. So it's a boat that you take out within 3 minutes or so, and when you're done driving you take another 3, maybe 4 minutes to put these covers on and you're done. So a really simple and easy to use boat, and that is actually what we're going to do. So let me start up the engine and untie, and we'll be right back for the test drive. Okay, here we are driving out on this Axopar 24 hardtop, doing around 1100 RPM, already 9 kilometers an hour, so let me slow her down a bit. I'm doing approximately, it's hard to see, but I think approximately slightly over 600 RPM, which is, by the way, really low. But this new Mercury V6 outboard is a brand new engine for Mercury, which comes in 175, 200 and 225 horsepower. We fitted the 200 horsepower, but the starting RPM being around 600 is really good, because we're doing 5 kilometers an hour at the moment, 4 or 5 kilometers. You hardly hear the engine running, and still it's really easy to drive her. If I pick up some speed, as I just mentioned, I did 1100, let me go up to 1500, then I'm already doing, let me see, 10 kilometers an hour, which in this area is a good speed to travel distances, not go too slow, but still not too much speeding where you have too high waves for all the people around you. But of course this boat has been made also to do some serious fast driving. I find this boat a really playful and joyful boat. Being a 24 footer, which is quite big, but this combination with the 200 horsepower for me is really, really nice. So let me gradually pick up some speed. We're doing 2000 RPM now. 2500, 15 kilometers an hour. Let me take her up the plane. I hardly have to push the lever. We're doing 28 kilometers an hour. 3000 RPM, ideal cruising speed. This is a speed which you use in Holland to do long distance cruising, and as you can see, it's really comfortable. Boat is quiet, feels very steady, very easy to drive, and also with this combination of hydraulic steering, which is electrically powered, you can do steering like this with one finger, back and forth, so really easy. And of course I also want to show you that it can do some serious driving. 3500 RPM, 38 kilometers an hour, 39. Let me do some quick turns also, because I've noticed with this Axopar 24 that it is capable of doing really strong turns. I hope the cameraman is warned for me doing that. Here we go. Get some air, but still it's a really, really short turn. Let me do the other way. Really, really short turns. It's really good on this Axopar 24. Now, there are some really nice features on this Mercury V6 200 horsepower outboard. I won't go into detail. There are loads of videos about the new Mercury V6 and V8 engines, but I find them really, really nice. They have really nice running culture, character I should say. And let me also try to get her to top speed. We're doing 4500 RPM, 57 kilometers an hour, 58. Top speed, use the trim, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 72 kilometers an hour, 73. Really, really fast and playful guys. When I take down the speed a bit, still capable of really fast turns like this. Really easy, really practical. When I take down the speed a bit further, people may wonder with the Axopar 24 what the driver's visibility is. Sorry. Well, full into plane, 42 kilometers an hour. Let me take the speed down a bit more for audio reasons. We're doing 35 kilometers an hour approximately now. Still really good visibility all around. I'm 1.93 m, but I'm convinced that if you're less tall than I am, you still have really good visibility. But if you want to stand up like this and I pull up the steering wheel, I can of course sit like this, and then I'm quite tall. If I slightly bend down, I can still look through the windows. But what I would do is stand up and drive like this. I think the audio now is not so good because of the wind, but still, this is a really nice way to also be driving this Axopar 24 hardtop. Let me go down again, and let me also conclude this video by inviting you for a test drive. Of course, we're in Holland, close to the Amsterdam. We have a test weekend planned on March 30 and 31st. But you're very welcome. We have plenty of Axopars in our showroom, and we usually have quite a few in the water also. I hope you enjoyed watching this review of the Axopar 24 hardtop. Hope to see you next time, and thank you for watching.